Hey everybody, Alan here. Thanks for tuning in and welcome back to the Gibson Garage. Today, I know, like the title says, I know I listed it as a how-to replace an alternator, but in my case it's a little more than that. I'm actually upgrading, not because just my old one is burned out, but because I added some electronics. If you're new to the channel, see my other stuff. I actually did a lot of work to this truck. Water pump there that's electric, and then these two fans, and that seems to be too much for the stock 105 amp alternator. And how I know that is because I have this voltmeter installed here where the cigarette lighter used to be. You know, before I added that stuff, it was operating fine, 14.6 when it was running. There wasn't any weird noises. But since I've done this stuff, added these things on there, and then you turn on those fans and the water pump at the same time, and the alternator actually started whining. Like it was crying. It was literally crying. It wasn't happy. And then you could see that the regulator, because of that voltmeter, the regulator wasn't able to keep up, or wasn't able to do what it needed to do all the time. It would drop and then raise and then go up to like 15, and you know, it just wasn't good. And you could hear sometimes it was screaming louder than other times, and it was having an effect on my idle as well. Just the electrical load, it seemed like is making it idle poorly. So that's my angle on the alternator. For the rest of you who just want to know how, of course you'll get that information too. I'll go through that as well. One thing I should mention before we get started is that if you are upgrading to a larger output alternator, you are going to want to upgrade your power and ground wires. Now my ground wire is already large enough, in my opinion. I think it's probably a 2 gauge, maybe 4, I'm not sure. And I've also got brand new straps for the frame to the body and the body to the engine. But my power wire is a little small. That's this one here. I think it's like a 6 or 8. I'm not sure. Whatever one's hanging on the shelf at AutoZone. And that's already upgraded from my original one, you know. But I think that's going to be too small. There we go. I think that's going to be too small for this high output. How you'll know is if you plug it in and that connector and that wire starts to get hot and starts to get hotter and hotter, and like, yeah, you don't want that wire getting hot. So you plug everything in. If you wire anything like a kill switch to your fans on your dash, and those wires are getting warm back there behind your dash, those wires are too small. Get larger wires or put in a relay. But same thing for this. We're gonna hook it up how it is, and then if I need to, which I think I'm going to anyways, but we're gonna see just if it gets hot at all anyway. Now, first things first, you should probably disconnect your battery. I'm not going to. I'm just going to keep this rubber boot on it and hope I don't accidentally bump it up against something. There. Then you're going to want to grab your 15 and grab this tensioner. I know my setup looks a little different, but it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter to you guys. You're going to pull up and then take this off of the smallest pulley, which is usually going to be this in our case. Then unplug this guy. Should be simple. And you got to undo these 2 bolts. Now I've got they call it the 5 and 7 o'clock positions, and there's also the like noon and 6 or something. So now with this bolt loosened and this front one out, you should be able to swing this, and then you can just take this one out the rest of the way. Now this is an adjustable bushing. You may have to tap that in, or if it's a gap there when you put in the new one, just tighten the bolt until it closes up. It's not a big deal. Wait, hold on. So I actually do have a gap. that makes things easy. Oh God, it's the simple things, you know? It's the simple things. And double check the bolt does fit your alternator before you try to put it in and you're like, well, how come it doesn't work? Yeah, we'll tighten that up. Okay. Now, for you guys that are just doing a stock replacement, you would just hook up your connector and hook up your power wire and your belt, right? And you're done. Alternator replaced. It's that simple. You're welcome. For those of you who are doing an alternator upgrade like myself, maybe you're sitting here wondering why, even though you told them the year, make, and model, that they still sent you an alternator with a round plug. And you're like, you know, and you knew this before they sent it. And I'm like, yeah, okay, send it. Let's send it. I can't wait to rub it in your face and you guys sent me the wrong one. Well, they sent a plug. So that I was not in the listing, I don't think. Maybe it was and I didn't read it closely. But it solves our problems, so it's not a big deal. I don't know why you can't find that external fan as an option on their website. Maybe, so, you know, maybe this is, because they say this is for like a 95 to 2000 Blazer with the same mounting points. So if this is what a Blazer alternator looks like from the beginning and it has more voltage or more amps than 105, maybe this is an easy factory upgrade just in itself. Like this is actually a 250 amp, but I wonder what like the Blazer stock alternator would be, and if it's more than 105, and if it's as simple as just swapping it over and maybe changing out this plug, then, you know, that would have been great to know, honestly, years ago. Not years ago, a year ago maybe. So if you look on your connector, you're gonna find some letters here, and on the alternator there are letters. S, F, L, and P. We got S, F, and L, and the P is actually, there's not a fourth prong in here at the end where this large one would be. This would be P. Yeah, no, I don't know. So anyways, this is plugged into L. We're gonna make sure it goes to the L here, so which would be the blue wire in my case. So I'll see if I can get in here and just pull all of these out and pull this one out maybe, and just take this wire and put it in there. Let's see if we can do that maybe. That's pretty sweet. Cool tools. Pop this out. Okay. Okay. Well, JS, you made a boo-boo. The clip, I don't know if you can tell, but as it starts to go over the nub, it gets stuck on the outside of the plastic housing. So I'm gonna have to like carve that out. Okay, that actually went a lot faster than I was expecting it. Okay. Look how good that looks, all blacked out. That looks amazing. That looks awesome. And if you notice too, this is a smaller pulley than stock. So if you're going with a JS alternator, an aftermarket alternator, they're gonna have a smaller pulley on it. Me, I've already accounted for that because I already had a March Performance aluminum pulley on mine. It was already small. So my belt length doesn't need to change at all. But something to keep in mind for you other people out there. I guess now we start it up. Take all this stuff, clean up a little bit here. Okay, we've done a start up. Awesome. It's not whining or screaming. That's good. No more, oh gosh, no more of that. But we got a battery light. What's that about? And the regulator seems to be kind of jumping around from like 14.7 or 8 to 14.0. So is the battery light. Turn on all my headlights. No draw in idle power. Like, it does not have an effect on my engine running at all. It is not doing a thing to the engine idle. So that's one plus. But I don't understand why I have a battery light. Is it because it detects the extra amperage? .7 again. That's a little worrisome too, that voltage jumping around like that. So this is fan off, kind of jumps to 14 and back up to 7, 14.7. This is the pump off, which is the big draw, 14.1 to 14.9. 14.0, 14.9. That's not a good sign. I'm not even messing with anything, and it's jumping from 14.9 to 14.0, 14.8. We'll keep an eye on it, see what happens. Gotta have the pump on at all times, and it jumped to 13.5 and back up to 14.7 and 6. Well, that's gonna do it for the alternator swap. The engine idle is great. So my main issue, the draw, is solved, right? I don't like the fact that I've got a battery light now. I'll have to call up the guys or email the guys at JS and ask them what they think. If that's, if I just have to live with that now or what, I don't know. There are some tests I can do for like resistance. They gave me a piece of paper, said everything should be below 0.1 volts. So I'll look into that and see, I've made sure everything's kosher there. I will also replace that upper wire to a larger gauge first before I call anybody. We'll see what happens there. I'll keep you guys updated. Check out my Instagram, and that's how you stay updated to the in-between stuff. It's Gibson Garage, or it's GG Speed Shop on Instagram, Gibson Garage SS on Twitter, and I'm on Facebook too as just Gibson Garage. Hit them all up. like them all, please, for me. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment too. Anybody wants to leave a constructive comment, don't just talk trash, I'll delete you. I'm not gonna waste my time. But I do appreciate you watching. Thanks for all the support you guys have been giving me, and until next video, I'll see you later.